Welcome back, everyone, to Public Affairs. I am your host, Kayleigh Aiken, and today I am here with a group of people. So next to me, I have Frank Gibson. He will introduce our guests for today. So why don't you introduce the guests and tell us a little about them?
Okay, Kayleigh. We have to the right of me, Greg Moon. He's the Executive Director of Wyandot County Economic Development Office. And then to Greg's right, we have Angela Powell. She's the Development Director, Coordinator from Morrow County Development. And then clear to the right of me is Mike Augenstein, and he is the Executive Director, Director of Workforce Solutions at Marion Tech downtown.
Yeah. Well, Frank, I'm going to start out with you. So would you like to share some information about manufacturing career connections?
Sure, Kayleigh. We started back in February 2018. We're an industry sector partnership, as they would call it. And what we found is that there were over 500 manufacturers within a 50-mile radius of Marion. So we started working with manufacturers in this area, and we pretty much over the years developed into a business model that was a network model. So each of these people that's here with me today are resource partners, and we go into the counties and they help us do what our mission is to advocate and promote careers in manufacturing. It started really with the North Central Ohio Region Industry Manufacturers Workforce Alliance, but we shortened it and made it Manufacturing Career Connections. And as you see the banner behind us, we found out that communications and marketing was primary in each of the counties that we work with, and that's when Terry Klein come up with the idea of the industrial channel.
Yeah. You talked a little bit about the North Central Ohio regions that you've been working with. So what counties are in the North Central Ohio region that you collaborate with?
Okay. I can do it alphabetically or just do it by it started with Marion and surrounding counties. So what does it say? Crawford, Delaware, Hardin, Marion, Morrow, Union, Wyandot, and then we added Seneca and Richland when the Northwest Career Ready initiative started, which was a major BAC of 14 school districts. And 3 of the counties we already had in our alliance, but we added Seneca and Richland County also, so now we're 9 counties.
Yeah, you definitely out there more. So what communities of interest do you collaborate with specifically?
I mentioned we did a study in 2014-15 when I was working with the Ohio State University Elber Enterprise Center, and it was 4 counties in manufacturing. And what we came up with was, in order to work on this workforce stuff, you needed 5 communities of interest. The 5 communities of interest are business, government, community organizations like economic development, chambers, and we had education, which on the right, Mike Augenstein clear down there, and the last was talent. So those are the 5 communities of interest that we refer to that if you're going to work on workforce development, I think that's what you'll see all around the state in most of the counties. Those are the ones. As far as government, Ohio Means Jobs is a big player, and any elected officials.
Well, thank you, Frank, for teaching us some more about career connections. So we're going to be moving on to Greg Moon, who is the Wyandot County Office of Economic Development. So, Greg, would you like to share some information about your Wyandot Occupational Resource Committee, especially as it pertains to promoting careers in manufacturing?
Sure, Kayleigh. So as Frank mentioned, when we went to tackle the challenge of workforce development many years ago, there was a lot of kind of finger pointing, and the question was, who is really in charge of workforce development? Well, going out and doing some research, like Frank had mentioned, we found that in order to make any kind of impact, we had to have all these communities of interest involved: industry, government, community organizations, education, and the talent itself. So what we did was establish this group that we called the Work Committee, the Wyandot Occupational Resource Committee. And what we did was put our heads together, went through this model of strategic doing to figure out here are the areas we need to focus on: education, communication, retention, and attraction of talent. And what we've really evolved that into is what are the ways we can communicate opportunities in our local economy, which is primarily made up of manufacturing, to our local youth, to our local talent that we have available to us. If you look at most of the people that work and live in Wyandot County, they're either from the area or have close ties to the area. So the main impetus of the work lately has been to engage our youth as much as we can about local opportunities before they're gone, so prior to graduation. Some of the ways in which that group has done that are through creating things such as manufacturing day tours. So in December of every year, every single sophomore student at our county school districts goes and visits 2 local manufacturers to see really what the modern day manufacturing environment is like. We do pre and post tour surveys with those students, and just from the data that we collect there, the vast majority of students have never visited a manufacturing environment. So to get them out there and experience what it's like is important. Another thing we put together is our local career showcase, which involves manufacturing and other types of businesses, other industries in Wyandot County. But that brings all the 6th grade and 9th grade students into a central location where they do hands-on activities with those employers to learn about some of the opportunities that those employers have available to them. So again, getting students out of the schools and actually interfacing with manufacturers in hands-on activities. And then each year we put together a student employer resource guide, which is essentially a matrix of here's all the businesses that are available or located in the county. Here's opportunities they have for students pre and post graduation, starting salaries, things like that. A simplistic grid that gets emailed out to the vast majority of all of our high school students. So we're delivering them something in their hands that shows them local opportunities. So really, it's how can we engage in different mediums with our local talent before they're gone and just educate them about what's available. So that's primarily what our Wyandot Occupational Resource Committee works on.
Yeah, definitely a lot there, but it starts with the youth, so good
Correct.
Foundation to start there. What types of initiatives are you implementing now, and what types of future initiatives are you planning?
So a lot of what I mentioned already. Some of the other things that we've done over the past 6 to 7 years, we implemented Community Opportunity, which is communityopportunity.com. It's a hyper-local job posting and career exploration platform. So think half of it's kind of like your Indeed or Monster type platform where employers can go out and post open positions. But the vast majority of it on the back end, it is a career exploration platform for local students. So they go in, specify areas that they're interested in, and they can research local companies. And this covers Wyandot County, Crawford County, and Richland County. So it's a 3-county system to find out about opportunities available, again, in the community nearby, hyper-local. Right now, there's about 400 employers in that system and over 3,600 students. Again, we've been using this for about 6 to 7 years, but it is being phased out. Support for it on the hosting side has gone away. So we are now transitioning to another system called U-Science, which is based on students' interest and aptitude tests. So students take these tests, and the system connects them with applicable career and educational paths to meet their aptitudes. And then employers on the back end can enter their own profiles, and it will connect students with aptitudes and interests in a certain career towards local employers that offer those careers. So again, it's connecting local youth with local opportunities and starting to use robust systems to do so.
Yeah, very important. What role does manufacturing contribute to the economics of Wyandot County?
In Wyandot County, industry manufacturing, it's very large. our percentage, it's our largest employment sector in the county. And if you look at the percent that are employed in manufacturing in Wyandot County compared to the state, it's double what the state's rate is. And I know the state of Ohio is even beyond that of the U.S. average. So a lot of our economy, a lot of the wealth generation, the jobs that are there are based in manufacturing.
Yeah, that's really great. So thank you, Greg, for that and showing us more on your economic development. Next, I'm going to speak with Angela Powell. She is the Morrow County Development Coordinator. And Angela, would you like to share some information about the Morrow Workforce Alliance, especially on how it pertains to promoting careers in manufacturing?
Absolutely. Thank you, Kayleigh. So we started the Morrow Workforce Alliance just over a year ago, April of 23. What we saw was there was a gap for workforce development in the county. So I worked really closely with our Ohio Means Jobs. Our local employment specialists had wanted to start the Workforce Alliance for several years and just couldn't make it happen. And so that's kind of been my whole role with the county, is filling in any gaps. So I helped them get that started, and I co-chair that committee. So we're just a group. We're education, businesses, community service, government, all working together. We meet monthly. We discuss workforce barriers, both to employees and to our employers, and we work out solutions for those. We've had some speakers in. We talk about programs like Tech Cred, the Work Opportunity Tax Credit, the Employer Resource Network, how to get labor market information. These are all topics we cover. And now all of these area businesses are now talking with one another, where we used to sort of be secluded in our own silos doing our own thing. And so it's really improved the networking opportunities in Morrow County as well. We're really there to share resources and information and support our local businesses. Our manufacturers have taken advantage of this in Morrow County. Again, the Work Opportunity Tax Credit, Tech Cred, those are things that we've helped our businesses apply for. So we have implemented some programming as well, which I think that was going to be your next question, so I apologize for that. But I also chair the Business Advisory Council Action Team for Morrow County, and through that organization, we did our first teacher boot camp last summer. We were one of 19 counties in Ohio to pilot that program, and this year we now have funding from the Lieutenant Governor's office to implement that program, and I believe it has grown significantly. But through that program, we take our teachers, Morrow County teachers, on tours of 6 different manufacturing businesses so that they can see what it's actually like in manufacturing. I think especially in Morrow County, we sort of have this stigma of the 1930s manufacturing, and we really want to open their eyes. I know I was previously a teacher, and I had never stepped foot in a manufacturing facility until I took this job, and it is really eye-opening. They're not just jobs in manufacturing, they're viable careers. And you can get entry-level positions and really work your way up. And I don't think that's what most of our teachers think. They think it's dirty, it's dangerous, it's not a viable career that you can make out of it. So really just opening the eyes of our educators. Having that business education partnership is really important to us, and we've really been able to grow that in Morrow County. We are also getting youth science in Morrow County, so it's very exciting. I almost forgot to mention that. We are working with our Tri-Rivers, Pioneer, and our Mid-Ohio Educational Services Center. So our schools are served out of the MOESC BAC to get that implemented into all of our Morrow County schools. So that's really exciting that we're all going to have it now. Another program we've done through the BAC Action Team is the Career Expo. That is for all 9th graders in Morrow County from every single school, even our private school attends this as well. And we have different options for them to choose from. They can choose from healthcare, manufacturing and skilled trades, agriculture, public service, and they get to rotate through different booths and get to experience those careers. So it's all hands-on. They're not just, it's not like a career fair where you just go and you talk to the employer. They're actually getting to experience something in those careers. And I think that was really eye-opening for our ninth graders as well. We had most of our large manufacturers there, and some of our small ones as well, and working with the students. So now those students not only learned about a new business in our county that they didn't know about previously, they now know what types of careers are available. And I think they're starting to think about careers that they didn't even know existed previously. So that's really exciting.
Yeah. Well, thank you for telling us about what you've implemented to this program that you guys have been working on. So what role does manufacturing contribute to the economics of Morrow County?
So we are experiencing a lot of growth in Morrow County. Years ago, we kind of put all of our eggs in one basket. We had one large manufacturer in the county, employed about 1,500 people. Everyone worked there. Everything was good. They had a good pension, everything. And that company went bankrupt, and 1,500 people lost their jobs. And Morrow County has been struggling since then, but I'd say in the last 10 years or so, we've really seen a lot of growth. A lot of local manufacturing businesses starting up. One of our success stories that I love to tell people about is Lubrication Specialties. It was just a guy who started in his garage with some friends, and they've grown over 400% just in the last 4 years. And they're one of our larger manufacturers in the county, and they're continuing to see growth. So manufacturing just really gives Morrow County a really stable economy, and we're not so unbalanced anymore. I did forget to mention one program that we've implemented, and this is one of the most exciting ones for me. When we started the Morrow Workforce Alliance, we talked to other counties, what are you doing? Because we had no workforce development programming in the county, and we said we don't want to, reinvent the wheel. We want to hit the ground running with what other counties have seen success doing. And one of those programs came from Knox County. They call it Aspect. We have changed the name to Empower Morrow, which stands for Preparing Our Workforce for Employment Readiness. It is a manufacturing-based program. We take these students on tours of the manufacturers, but we also teach them the skills that they need to be successful for careers in manufacturing. A lot of that includes soft skills, attendance, reliability, accountability, those sorts of things. But we do some technical skills too. So these students have now read some blueprints, and they've done some measuring, things like that. This was our first year. We piloted the program. It was small, but those students that were involved in the program, it really did impact their lives. They were not planning on careers in manufacturing whatsoever, but now after actually touring these businesses, getting to meet the employers, learning that they could actually make a viable career out of this, all three of them are planning on careers in manufacturing. A couple of them graduated 2 weeks ago. One has graduation this weekend, and then they're going to make their decision because they did get offers. Part of the Empower Morrow program is that they get to interview with every manufacturing company that participated, and they did get job offers from several manufacturers out of this program. So that's another exciting thing we've done in Morrow County.
Well, that's amazing, spectacular. Thank you, Angela, for sharing on that, and Morrow County Development Coordinator Office. So next I'm going to move on to Michael Augenstein. And Michael is from the Director of Workforce Solutions on Marion Tech downtown. So Michael, would you like to share some information about Workforce Solutions, especially as it pertains to promoting careers in manufacturing?
Sure. First of all, thank you for inviting us to come and talk to you today. I have an amazing job, and so I'm glad to share it. The biggest thing is that I'm a people connector. So I got to know all of these folks on the panel. Frank and I attend all three of the meetings that we're discussing. I have a little bit of an advantage over them in that most people have heard of Marion Technical College, so that's an easy thing to tell people about. But Workforce Solutions, most people probably don't know about. So my department, I'll talk about 3 different ways that we impact manufacturing. The first way is in educating the K through 12 students on the opportunities that are out there in manufacturing. We get to work with the manufacturers directly because one of my functions is to assist them with training. So when they have an employee that maybe they promoted someone to a supervisor and they would like some training for that person, or they've hired someone and they need a little bit of programmable logic controller, maybe AutoCAD or SolidWorks. So there's all these programs that manufacturers use, and Marion Technical College already has instructors that know these programs. So my job is basically to get them to work overtime and go into these facilities and train the employees directly. And then back to the K through 12. So again, we're already talking to the manufacturers. We already know what they need. So we're helping to communicate that to students. So what we have been doing since 2018 in Marion County is the Made in Marion Expo. And last year, to Greg's point, we actually shifted it over to Careers Made in Marion. And so we're highlighting all employment opportunities in Marion County. We're taking the 12th grade students. For the first 4 or 5 years, it was the 7th and 9th grade students. So we heard from our manufacturers and our employers in our county, and they wanted to talk directly with the seniors. So this year, I think it's the third Tuesday in October, we will have all of the 12th graders in all of Marion County, and they'll be in the Marion Fairgrounds Coliseum, and they meet with about 30 exhibitors, and they're able to learn about jobs they had no idea were here. Also, in that K through 12 realm, I'll give a shout out to an organization most people probably have not heard of, and it's MAWAC, and it stands for the Marion Area Workforce Alliance. Accelerated, yeah. It's a tough acronym. But what it is it's all of the K through 12 superintendents, as well as Marion Tech, Ohio State University, Marion, Tri-Rivers, several employers, and we all meet once a month. And the idea is, of course, that we're teaching students in the K through 12 what they need in order to fill these jobs when they graduate. So not everyone is going to go to college right out of high school, and we encourage them to go directly into employment. And I was actually one of those students who went into employment and that employer paid for my college. A lot of our area manufacturers offer tuition assistance. So it's education, telling these students that there's a great career out there. Other ways that we help with manufacturers, encouraging women in engineering. So if you go to our website, mtc.edu, if you watch this soon, there is a advertisement for women in science and engineering. We call it WISE. And there's a ladies in engineering boot camp. It's June 3rd to the 7th and June 10th to the 14th from 8 to 3:30. And this is an awesome way if you have a daughter, granddaughter, or niece, someone in your family that you think, maybe they would be a good fit for manufacturing. We will help expose them to that, and they'll see that it's a really good career. And then a couple other things that we do. We do to Angela's point, a manufacturing teacher boot camp. We take K through 12 educators. They could be principals, they could be counselors, but mostly they're the teachers. And we take them into manufacturing facilities. We go to at least 5, and they get to see exactly what it's like to work there. They get to interact with the plant manager or people at a top level and say, what do you need us to teach? And so that's another great way to build that connection. And then finally, we have something called the Mobile Training Lab. If you drive past Marion Technical College, across from Walmart, you'll see that there's a 45-foot-long Freightliner box truck. And inside that, there's a 3-axis CNC machine. We take that to manufacturing facilities and we do training for their employers or their employees. But we also take it to the K through 12s, and we show students basically how to run this machine. It's not that complicated. We teach you how to run the PLC, which is, again, the programmable logic controller. We'll cut like a keychain for them A lot of times if we're taking it out to show students this machine, we've got 2 3D printers in there. The students are, of course, they're always into 3D printing. It's an easy bridge. I also want to mention, you may know someone in your family that they love video games. There's a direct link between people who are good with computers and manufacturing, which of course we have a program for that. It's called Smart Manufacturing. So that's kind of in a nutshell some of the things that we're doing with Workforce Solutions and manufacturing.
Yeah. So you talked a little about why you're implementing teaching the teachers more about manufacturing as general. So what types of initiatives are you planning for the future, or are there any more that you would like to add?
Sure, yep. We've got one that's really new, and that is our Management Development Institute. We saw a need for people who are being promoted into leadership roles at any company, any organization for that matter. It could be a government entity, it could be a nonprofit, but we're seeing that people may need some leadership skills when they go into these positions. So we have many instructors with many different talents and focuses that will meet with any organization and talk to them about what their needs might be for training for their middle management and their supervisors. So that one's new. We've always done it, but we haven't packaged it as its own individual thing. And so we're being, intentional with that initiative. And then I mentioned the ladies in engineering. I think that was the big ones that I wanted to mention that are new. I guess this would be a good time actually to talk about. At Marion Tech downtown, we also have free classes to anyone. It's called Aspire. Its main focus is helping people get their GED. It's completely free. If you know anyone that needs their GED, send them our way. And then I run the testing center where they take their 4 tests to get their GED. So we help them with that. And then, of course, our police academy is downtown. If you're ever downtown around 6 o'clock at night, you might see them, the cadets running. So, of course, we just had a graduation. We graduated 400 students. 22 of them were still in high school. Just some numbers to throw at you. There's about over 3,000 students at Marion Tech. 1,500 are in high school. I want to say roughly 400 are actually in the prison systems. And then the rest are folks like us that you might have just graduated from high school. You might still be in high school, or you might be 70 years old. We've had several students, including this past graduation, that were in their 70s. So I like to say that any time is the right time for learning. You can take just one class. You don't have to dive into 20 credit hours and be a full-time student. You can take just one class. I would say that the majority of our students are actually just taking a class here or two. With 1,500 high school kids and 22 got their associate's degree, obviously they're not all full-time. They're juggling sports and music and everything else that everyone's involved in. So I would just, I'd like to encourage people to go to mtc.edu and check out what we have. In July, we do Enrollment Express. It's a great opportunity for people to just walk in off the street and sign up for classes.
Well, as we're getting ready to conclude this interview, I just want to thank you all for coming out. I enjoyed and I learned a lot about you guys and what you guys are doing here, and I hope the audience learned a lot as well. So thank you again. And as always, you are watching Public Affairs, and I am your host, Kayleigh Aiken. Thank you.